10 quintillion, that's the number of insects on Earth right now. Sounds like a lot, and it is, of course, but experts warn that number could dramatically drop, and the consequences could be catastrophic. In the last 4 billion years, wildlife is believed to have been annihilated 5 times, and studies show it's happening again, only this time it's our fault. So why is it a big deal? Well, pesky flies and stinging wasps are simply a nuisance, right? But without them, you and I can't survive, especially since insects are responsible for about 1/3 of all food produced across the globe. So what can we do about it? Well, to discuss this, we're joined now by Rami Ollaik, who's a professor of beekeeping at the American University of Beirut. Rami, good to have you on the program. So the journal Biological Conservation came out with this shocking information. They said that more than 40% of insect species around the world are threatened to be extinct within the next few decades. When you came across that news, what was your immediate reaction?
Well, again, thanks for having me. The bee has become the symbol of the environment because it's under the spotlight, and much studies have been done about that, which tells us about what's happening to honeybees specifically, but not to many other insect species, which are all believed to become endangered. And basically, it's not just about honey when we talk about honeybees. It's about us. It's about the food chain that we sit on top of. And as you said, if we go, we're taking you with us. That's what the bees are saying to us. And I need to quote Einstein here. If bees are wiped off the face of Earth, then man would have only 4 years to live. So basically, it's all about pollination, what the bees do. Honeybees are believed to be the most efficient pollinators on Earth. And basically, to put it simple, no bees means no pollination. No pollination means no plants. No plants means no animals. No plants and animals means no us. That's the thing. Now, that's really scary. And, well, much effort has been put to dig into the root cause of that, but there's no single conclusive finding. Rather, it's a combo of different factors that we humans can really realize. And scientists have come with a set of possible causes that has been leading to the bee vanishing, which is dubbed as colony collapse disorder. Some of them are global warming, climate change, pollution, deforestation, monocultures, the use of GMOs, bee management itself. And well, we can see all that. I mean, bees don't have enough habitat, to go and forage in. And basically, they're just losing their sense of orientation due to the mixed signals. Honeybees are known to have an excellent sense of orientation. The single bee goes out of her hive in all possible directions and then comes back from miles away to the very location of her hive entrance. This is not happening. What's happening on the other side is like mass bee foragers going out of the hive, and they're not coming back. Beekeepers are leaving their hives supposedly healthy, no signs of diseases, good enough food stores, still no bees are found there, all disappeared. Sometimes just the queen and a handful of bees.
Right.
So this is the story, and to sum it up, it's like the honeybee is nature's bad messenger to us. And because the bee is sensitive and she was able to witness all that and get affected, the bee is raising a red flag to humans and saying, stop there, stop being greedy, stop messing with your ecosystem, with the environment, because if you don't do that, sooner or later, we will be gone. A lot of insect species would be gone, and then you'll pay the consequences, humans.
So a whole bunch of insect species are on the verge of extinction, or at least dramatic decline, right? And we know that, especially through your very elegant and eloquent exposition there that the honeybee is the driving force behind all agriculture and the entire food chain. So we know this, and we have colony collapse. But until we have absolute clarity about what's the specific cause, how can we actually come up with a solution? If it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that and multiple factors, how do we actually have a policy that we can live by in order to fix things?
Well, basically, it starts from each and every one of us. We have to have enough awareness to treat this environment or the ecosystem we're living in a better way. Well, one of the possible causes are pesticides, and specifically some systemic pesticides of the category neonicotinoids. And a lot of awareness have developed lately in Europe and developed countries as well, other developed countries, and a ban has been in effect against 5 types of pesticides, which basically are considered to cause the death of bees. I mean, policy makers and such measures would help a lot. Still, it is up to, again, each and every one of us. I mean, bees need like foraging places. They need greenery around. They need clean environment. The bee is very sensitive. What's happening is she's losing her sense of orientation because of all that. So we need to reverse this cycle, and we need to approach the environment in a different way. And not only this, a very important lesson learned from the bees is that we need to visit our food system, our current agricultural system. You know, we teach at colleges, we tell students to go into profit-making, mechanization, monocultures, you know. That's the motive now, which is basically has proven wrong. And the bee was the main cause to give us the heads up to go and investigate all that. And these days, there's a trend of revisiting the whole food system in the world because of what the bees have alarmed us about. And we have to come up with a more friendly environment. Now, there's like a lot of policies and a lot of programs that go for friendly farming, bee-friendly farming, discouragement of the monocultures, staying away from genetically modified organisms. Even the use of pesticides, it's a big industry, and it's a lot of politics and lobbying here. But yeah, this is something also that we have to deal with. All these things would help in reversing this dramatic cycle. And I know like the efforts that have been employed are not enough so far, so much more needs to be employed and needs to be done to at least, okay, get to a point where we can have a ground to effectively reverse the cycle. And here, there's like a discrepancy between industrialized countries, dubbed as developed countries, and developing countries. And the problem is exacerbated with developing countries because of the lack of data, statistics, effective policies, all that stuff, which is complicating the issue more, and which is leading to a state of, well, we can't do anything. On the contrary, the use of chemicals, pesticides, and where we don't have alternatives in developing countries specifically is getting more and more into the fore, and this is worsening the case.
Okay, and Rami, this has been a broad range of problems that you have diagnosed here, and of course you're looking at possible solutions. It's been fascinating, and a lot of us, I think, we underestimate just how much we need bees in our lives and just how much this means to all of us and I guess our civilization. Now, one of the things that happens on this program, Rami, is when a guest appears, your name will appear on screen. A lot of our viewers will punch your name into Google and they'll have a look at your background, right? And something that we found was fascinating about you, and I'm going to take a little political turn here, is that before you were doing this, you were a member of Hezbollah. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's quite a different angle. Like you said, well, I grew up in South Lebanon, the Hezbollah land, to a family of rich heritage in beekeeping. My late dad was like, I owed to him my passion for bees. And basically, it was a wartime, and a lot of displacement, you know, going from one place to a safer place. And the only constant in my life was the bees, you know. We were like carrying them with us, the beehives, wherever we go. And the bees teach you a lot of lessons when it comes to real life, you know, the order, the fascination, and their amazing structure, division of labor, specialization of task. Well, basically, when I look at all these within Hezbollah, I kind of like find some relevance to what I was doing, I'm still doing, even though later on in life, after 13 years nearly of constant involvement within the party, I quit the party, and I moved to a new life of different morals and standards and values. On top comes ethics and love and peace, and still the inspiration from the bees goes on. And even like at some point I wrote a letter to Hezbollah leadership denoting the black and yellow, you know, the colors of the bee, which are the same color of Hezbollah, and Hezbollah's flag or banner. And basically what I want to say is that I've written 6 books. One about technical beekeeping, a guide to modern beekeeping in Arabic. That was the first scientific reference to beekeeping in Lebanon in Arabic. And the other books, 3 in Arabic, 1 in English, and that was translated to French and published in Paris, The Bees Road. Well, it's a metaphor, but it tells it all about my life, about Hezbollah, about Lebanon, about the civil war, about the bees in relation to that, about what's going on these days of fighting corruption, about the imbalance in the times where war was against the external enemy, whereas we neglected our societies, our communities, and that's why we drowned lately in garbage and diseases and poison and all that stuff. And basically, my message in my books was all about that, just making a remembrance of the Prophet Muhammad when he welcomed fighters coming from the battlefield, and he said, welcoming you after getting done with the smaller jihad. Well, you still are left with the greater jihad. And they asked him, what's that? He said, that's the jihad of the self. This part has been truly neglected lately by Hezbollah, by a lot of parties, by a lot of decision makers taking care of people's lives, and that caused a lot of suffering, a lot of humiliation, a lot of bad or low lifestyles. At the time. All this should have brought the people to dignity and prosperity and better lives, and that's where my struggle these days is about. Starting with Hezbollah and politics and the civil war, and ending with longing to have a nation, a proper nation, and while having this nation more connected to the surrounding, and basically bringing people more to peace instead of all this bloodshed. It's a long story. I tried to just make it short. But there's a lot to tell in these books, which one of them was suggested to be a Hollywood movie.
Right, The Bees
after
Road.
A lot of meetings and a lot of correspondence.
Well, I hope it does become
at some point, because the angle was.
Right. No, I hope it does. Listen.
Well, they focused on politics, basically.
I see.
My angle is more about life and different things, and that's why at some point when I got the proposal, I declined going that way. Hopefully, I get some people that see things with a better perspective, more a human sort of thing, and then hopefully movies and a lot of lessons would come out.
Listen, Rami, I really appreciate you sharing your personal story with us.
Yes.
You are undoubtedly one of the most interesting guests we've had on the Newsmakers. Rami Ollaik, we wish you all the best. Thanks so much for joining us.